This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment Blog, coming to you with another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations number 67. The first movie I watched was Fat Man, with Mel Gibson, Walter Goggins, Marianne G. Baptiste, and a very good job by the guy playing the little boy. Now, the thing about this movie was, if you are familiar with the Mel Gibson, recently he's been putting on a lot of bulk and muscle, and I'm looking at this like, that's cool, because he was convincing as a guy who's been Santa Claus for a while, and that he potentially, it's a long lineage of different people taking on the thing, and it's just a business and a company, and they're in charge, obviously, of taking care of setting things out. But they made it where it's interesting, where the financial impact, the government. But here's the thing: there's this kid played by Chance Hurstfield who I really like as he's grown into from a young teenager to a late teenager, almost young adult as a high schooler. In A Million Little Things, Danny did a really good job, and he's done a really good job in that show. So I liked him, and I got to see him. How he played a little snot in this one, where he hires an assassin to kill Santa Claus, and Walter Goggins is the assassin. So it's cool to see a cat and mouse game between Walter Goggins and Santa Claus and everything else. And I thought it was pretty clever. I thought it was an original idea. It wasn't like the same old Christmas movie you get every single time over and over and over. It was something different, and the fact that it was 90-something minutes does not take that long of your day to watch it, even if it isn't the world's greatest movie or the best script. It was just an interesting take. Mel Gibson, people like him as an actor. People like Walter Goggins as an actor. So it was a pretty good movie. They told things about elves and reindeer, and where he lives and all that stuff. So it's pretty interesting. I would suggest to watch it because it's an interesting take on a Santa Claus movie. Then I watched Let Him Go. And here's the thing: I watched this movie while the horrible housemate I live with was moving out, so I stopped it a bunch. But here's the thing: it's a good movie. It's an hour and 50 minutes. So if you're not interested in sitting through an hour and 50-minute movie drama, that's fine. But when you got yourself Kevin Costner and Diane Lane leading this cast, and you're familiar with other actors in the movie, you're like, cool, that you've seen this before, and you're like, okay. So basically what it is their son tragically dies. Their daughter-in-law gets remarried and moves away unexpectedly without them knowing, and they go on the hunt to look for them in another state, driving and all this stuff. And it's like present day. It takes maybe 60s, 70s, or 80s because there's not the smartphone, all this technology stuff, and they got to go to these backwoods to find them. So the whole movie is Diane and Lane and Kevin Costner trying to get back their grandson, but at the same time convince their daughter-in-law to come back. You know how it is in this small little town. Certain people run things, people get away with things, so it's very hard for them to use the law to help them. So it was interesting to see Kevin Costner playing a former sheriff, using his skills there, and Diane Lane not stopping till she can get the child, which is like, let him go, let him be with us. So it was a very interesting movie. A little sad, but the build up and to try to save the grandchild was pretty good. That's probably why Rotten Tomatoes certified it fresh, because I actually enjoyed it. It was a very good movie, even with all the interruptions and pausing. Then I watched the movie Fatale, where it's like, okay, cool. Hilary Swank, people love her, but if you didn't tell me it was her or name me certain movies, I may not remember what movie she was in. And Michael Ealy, he's been in plenty of great movies, including 7 Pounds, and I watched him on Stumptown, so he's a pretty good actor. Basically what it is he sleeps with Hilary Swank in Vegas and doesn't know anything about her. It turns out that there's a break-in in his house, and they're trying to figure it out, and the detective that happens to be is Hilary Swank, who he slept with. Then it's a whole... He cheated on his wife, but his wife had cheated on him with his best friend and business partner, Michael Coulter, from Luke Cage and Evil. And basically, the movie is, he gets framed for the murder of his wife and his best friend, and everything points to him, blah, blah, blah. And Hilary Swank is playing a crazy lady who, obviously, I'm sorry to give it away because it's not a great movie. She's the one that framed him because she's trying to get something out of him in order to help her situation out. And it's just like, yeah. I sat through this for an hour and 40 minutes. I was like, yeah, this is a really bad movie. Crazy lady doing all the things. And, of course, the ending is great because if Michael Ealy didn't come out and top in this movie, then it would have been one of the worst movies ever. It was a little bit redeeming there. Then I watched Scare Me, which was written by this dude, Josh Rubin, directed it, all this stuff, and and he and this woman who they meet in the forest, who both in cabins, the power goes out. She's supposedly a famous scary horror writer, and he's trying to also write horror books, scary books. But of course, the two of them just keep outdoing each other, trying to out storytell each other. But they try to do their own sound effects and all this other stuff. Barely anything happens in the movie. It feels like it drags on for more than an hour and 40 minutes. It feels like it's a 2-hour movie. Chris Reddit's a pizza delivery guy. They do drugs. He's in there, and he's barely in the movie, but he gets billing on the thing, and like, okay, cool. Wasn't that great? I don't know why certain Rotten Tomatoes and the fans gave it 60 to 80% great rating, because it was probably, I don't get it certified rating. It was one of the worst movies I ever watched. One of my housemates walked in and go, what's going on? I told him about the plot. He read the back of the movie, and he goes, yeah, none of this stuff happened. The only thing that happened was at the end where like they disappeared or something. Whoop-de-doo. That's a horrible movie. Baby Dunn was actually a very clever movie, and I was like, okay, cool. It was about like this small community of tree climbers. These two people are tree climbers, and she's really good at it, but then she gets pregnant, and they got to figure out how, does she really want to be a mother, or he wants to be a father, and all the ups and downs of not being married, being in a dating relationship, and having other things you want to do, because if you become a parent, do you all of a sudden not get to live your life the way you want? You get to hang out with your friends, or you only hang out with people who are married with kids. And for a 90-minute comedy, it was an interesting, clever idea about the circle of, in the world of, like, I don't know if it was Australia or England, whatever the case is, this community of people that do stuff, how people have a baby and stuff, how he was ready for it, but she's not ready for it. And supposedly this is made by the Taiki Wadi dude who made What We Do in the Shadows. So that guy's a very clever movie maker, so I'll give him credit that it was pretty interesting. It wasn't that long. And for those who don't know, Matthew Lewis, who's in this movie, was in the Harry Potter movies. And I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this guy all these years grown up. And Rose Montefiore, I've seen her before, so she's pretty clever. So overall, odd, quirky movie, original idea like Fat Man, I would watch it. Then I watched the last, Vermeer, where it's based on true events. Where obviously they can loosely tell the story, over-dramatize stuff, and for an hour 50-minute movie, because it's a historical thing, you're going to accept that it's going to take a long time to make the movie. I mean, to get through the movie and tell the story. And I was like, wait, Guy Pearce in this? Is he the guy who's researching all the stolen artwork that the Nazi had or sold? No, he's the greatest world art forger of all time, selling them and stuff. And so he gave a really good performance. So did this Klaus Bang dude who played him. And the whole movie is him trying to put this guy away because he worked with the Nazis and sold real artwork to them. But then it takes a 180 if you know the true story about it, so I'm not giving it away, where he actually was selling forgeries to all these German high officers and stuff like that. And he's got to try to save the guy from going to prison. So it was pretty good. It was interesting to look at a Dutch setting where he's a Dutch Jew, the main guy, and this is them trying to figure out Dutch law and all the military stuff. So based on the fact that it was a true story, and even though they over-dramatized some stuff, Guy Pearce and this Klaus Bang did a very good job in their roles, and it was pretty good. Watching these, World War II historical Holocaust-esque type of movies, and so I'd watch it. It was pretty good. The movies I wouldn't watch are the two movies, Scare Me and Fatale. They were just horrible movies, and I don't get how Scare Me gets this great review on Rotten Tomatoes. It made absolutely no sense. Baby Dunn and Fat Man were pretty interesting, original idea, clever movie that had pretty good acting and good writing, and yeah, it may not be the best movie, Fat Man or Baby Dunn, but you'll laugh and you'll enjoy it. And Let Him Go, I agree with Certified Fresh Tomatoes that Costner and Diane Lane did an amazing job in this movie. If you do want to watch interesting drama that take a while to get through, and it's, you know what the plot is, they're either going to get the kid or they're not, then you're going to enjoy it. Thanks for listening to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations, number 67. For On the Red Entertainment Blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.